Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome, welcome to all the guests. We're on day 3. Oh, the cheeses. That's the mishbach.
Through the gate there is narrow street, and then we arrived to the house where Abba Sali used to live. Avi, watch your cameo over there. Tomorrow's day 4.
I can't get this one enough.
My boys, I know I'm put this together. These are all videos and pictures that he took, or we took. We are going to Saint Anton in Austria. This is a very, very small group right now. So anybody waiting to speak to me after davening will have better chances over there. Here we go. Gave shear everywhere. Where's the pineapple? I gotta see that. Nice job, Noah. Nice job. You been to the Alps already?
Yeah.
You saw Hashem's Alps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Been there, just done that.
Not in Austria.
In Austria. Italy, whatever.
Not whatever. Not whatever.
See one house.
Read one book, read them all.
Not at all.
Oh.
You obviously don't believe that.
Watch that.
You obviously don't believe that.
You don't either believe that. Seen one else, we'll see them all. I'm saying just the Shitaso. All right, Givaldik. Weber Torah, boy, say Weber Torah, speak to them.
I was thinking about coming, but now I saw this. I don't have to do it.
No. That's just the cover of the book, Rav Nachman. That's just the cover. You gotta see the inside. Wishing all of us Mazel Tov, my new Einikol Ephraim David HaKoyen. Here's one day after his bris and has already completed 3 daf. Rabbi Isai. With me on battlefield, no excuses from anyone. This little guy can do it. So can you? I'm fortunate that my daughter married a Kohen. He's a great guy, and now grandson number 2. I should be zeichet to see the grandchild's service. Kehanu Nesamigdash b'meir b'yameinu Yitam Chassid Dov Eisenberger.
This guy's a big simcha tomorrow.
Well, what's the big simcha?
My grandson's bris tomorrow.
Grandson! Mazel Tov, welcome to the club. What, this is your first one?
First one.
Gee, what's your name again?
I am light from Woodney.
And you're going to be Sandik?
It's Hashem.
Well, that's a schos. It took me a long time to be a Sandik by a bris.
For my grandson.
Yeah?
Not yet.
No, my father, Baruch Hashem, is alive, and he got the first one. And You know what, Rabbi said, I'm going to skip the beautiful email over here. This guy says he traveled this. He went off the derech for a little bit. I grew up religious in Israel, went off the derech for a short while. I'm growing strong every day. Your MDY Gemara is so good and simple to understand. You hear this? No, it makes learning the daf memorable for me every day. I actually remember things from days later and bring them up and share in yeshiva. And he says, and I don't want to compare it to other Gemaras, which I won't mention. Current interest in investing is one that helps you stay financially secure. It's a wonder. It helps you reach incredible heights in Torah. Power, consistency in learning, how just a little bit every day actually compounds, and before you know it, you finish the parak and then another. And as soon as the whole Shas, I didn't even want to read it, and I just read it. Eitan Goldstein. And here's learning with the Chevra on the way to Maryland, to Cleveland for Game 4, Maryland. Go Knicks, learning on the way. Torah with the Knicks. But this one, Rabbi said, check this out. Thank you, Kobe. I guess Kobe came in here. I had big issues with my computer. Somebody just translated this. I was going to read this from Hebrew. It's a sad email, but it gives chizuk. I'm saying this email from Hadassah Hospital. 2 weeks ago, 2 days, my wife gave birth with a very complicated emergency surgery. The baby girl was in extremely critical condition. I went to Tzaddik and cried, asking for a bracha. He told me, think about myself to set aside fixed times for Torah learning. I accepted it, but it was very difficult for me. I'm the kind of person who has no real daily routine and doesn't like committing to anything. It felt like an impossible task. In general, learning was never something that really spoke to me, but what won't a person do for his child to live? So I started listening to various shiurim on YouTube and hope for the best, and indeed, the very next day, her condition began to stabilize, but unlike other stories that end happily, our daughter eventually passed away after a week. Not only that, but my wife has been going from one complication to another, and we're still hospitalized with no indication of when this ordeal will end. A few days ago, I happened to come across your share on YouTube. I enjoyed it so much, I started listening every day. Not because I felt obligated, but because I genuinely enjoy every moment of it. There's so much humor and wit. The share is so clear and pleasant. It's truly an experience. I listen with headphones, and sometimes I literally burst out laughing. The part about the Levim singing off key had me laughing for at least 10 minutes straight. Nobody around me understands what is happening to me because the situation is really heartbreaking and depressing. At the moment, there's still no expected discharge date from the hospital. In addition, listen to this. I have a 4-year-old daughter who's blind. Yet I feel that this shir gives me life, it gives me tremendous strength and positive energy. Whenever people told me that Gan Eden is a place where righteous people sit and learn Torah, it always sounded incredibly boring to me, and I wasn't so sure I was interested in Gan Eden. But if Gan Eden means attending shiurim with you, then I'm definitely interested. A huge shikayach. If possible, I would greatly appreciate it if you could dedicate a shir for the recovery of my wife, the Chama Bas Chana. Thank you very much. Moshe S. All right, let's start the shir. Official edition, MDY Shas, Masechta Zev and Yal Shula of Perek, the Benedict family, Daf Chav Vav, Tzvi Sarah, Chullin, for Shlema, for Rivka Naomi, Bas Elisheva Batya, David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Moiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Berim Chaim Tzvi Doi Zechron Levracha, the Palish Family Foundation, and gratitude to the consortium and the alliance, and all they do to support MDY. Anonymous, Hatzlach Baruch Nisu V'Gashmias, thank you to Chief Benny. Anonymous for complete refuah shlema and arichas yom to Leah Basester, Binyamin Daniel Rosenfeld Brius V'Simcha, Ari Simon refuah shlema monthly sponsor refuah shlema Avi Moiri Baruch Ben Miriam, Binyamin and Daniel Rosenfeld Parnas B'Shefa, the Spanish shir weekly sponsor, the Spanish shir sponsors wishing them the wife family continue at Sloch and Siyaz Shmaya. Thank you. Anonymous refuah shlema for B'Tzal Ben Esther, Moses Ginsburg in memory of Tzvi Abish Ben Moshe Halevi. Koil sponsor, that was the daily sponsor, first, Mamish. HYK Ventures is chus for success of all our clients. Beyond Daniel Rosenfeld, Bracha of Beparnasa. MDY Kids sponsor monthly Kind Innovations, other seasons, chus Vaki Simcha Ben Pega, and Rivki Yehu, this is Batsiava Chayo. MDY Art, Refuah Shlema, Yonatan Edem Ben Sheva Bracha, Refuah Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther, for Sayela, Daniel Zeb Ben Ayel Tester. Rabbi say, here we go. Just remind me what your name is again. Dalmonte from London. Shalom Aleichem. And your name? From Brooklyn. And originally? Argentina. That's a lot more chashiv. I have something from Argentina. Shalom Aleichem. You were here just recently, no? Like a few months ago you were here. No? When was the last time you were here? 2 weeks ago. Woo. All right. Welcome. What's your son's name? What's your name? Israel. Shalom Aleichem. Wieso heißt dir? From where? Shalom Aleichem. All right, we'll get to some other guests. He's a Kohen. How do you know? The Duchen, that's right. I'm thinking about. Mamish reminds me of that famous mice in the mirror. Guy tells his father, let's go to Shachris. On Hanukkah, he says, you're not going to believe it. Over here, they do duchening on Rosh Chodesh, because that was the only time he went to shul. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you know he's a kohen? It's Tuesday. Like, oh, this biggest kahanim in the first minyan, not always in the second. Where's David? Okay, he's not here. Zok the Heilig Gemara. Okay, Rabbi Isai, here's a good one. If you didn't hear the shir yesterday, what food type that becomes tamei, you can make it tar. A person, if it becomes tummy, goes into the mikvah. Kli becomes tummy, put it in the mikvah. What type of food, put it in the mikvah, becomes tar?
Water.
Who said that? Oh, he's right. Water that becomes tummy. If you touch it to the mikvah, you do hashaka, you kiss it to the mikvah, you don't like pour it, but that becomes tar. So we have to finish off the sugya of temed, and then we're going to go on to the continuing mishnayos, chila, chalitza, mio, and all sorts of interesting stuff today. What's temed? Temed is when a person, I'll remind you here, Dailam really enjoyed this one. He ate 2 grapes, and 200 pits come out of his mouth. He's trying to make wine. I guess anything can happen in a cartoon. I enjoyed the mayim turning into just the art. All right, so the Mishnah tells us that if it was machmitz, if it fermented, so it's considered wine. It's considered wine. You can purchase it with ma'aser sheni money. It's good for a mikvah. If it did not ferment, so it remains water. It remains water. You can't buy water with ma'aser sheni money. If you add sink water to a mikvah, it passes the mikvah. If you don't have a 40 saw and you add sink water before the 40 saw, it makes it possible. So it says the Gemara, we're starting where it says Gemara, 6 lines from the bottom of Chof Hayamad Beis. Mani Masnisin. Who does our Mishnah go like? Our Mishnah talks about becoming fermented and not fermented. That was the whole nafkamina. Says Gemara, Lo Rabbi Yehuda v'lo Rabbanan. It can't go neither like Rabbi Yehuda nor like Rabbanan. Why? The Sanya. Hamisamed. V'nosamayim b'mida. Somebody was trying to make temed. So he puts in a liter of water. Umatza k'dei midasai pater. He comes back a few days later, measures out the amount of liquid, and he finds exactly a liter. Yeah, it might started fermenting. It's not fermented yet. It looks like a liter. It is a liter. So you pause it for meiser. Why? Because nothing changed. You put in a liter of water. You have a liter of water. Say chachamim, that's the indication that you didn't really benefit from this whole temet. Nothing came out of the grape seeds. Rabbi Yehuda says, listen, naturally water evaporates. So if you put in a liter, you should have a little bit less than a liter. How do you have a full liter now? Obviously, some of the grapes went into the water, and now you have real temet. So you should have to give meiser off this. But there's no mention whether or not this mixture fermented or not. It doesn't say anything about fermentation. It says, did you find the liter or not? That's the whole problem here. Mani Rabbanan afagav the hechmetz. According to Rabbanan, it doesn't matter even if fermented. If it's the same amount, it's not considered wine. Even if it didn't ferment, it's considered wine, and you chayav b'meiser. No. You missed it. The whole point over there is that it became fermented. That's where it's machlokes. And if it didn't ferment, then Rabbi Yehuda is maskim that there's no meiser. Umas nisim Rabbi Yehuda. And our Mishnah would be Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because according to Chachamim, if it became fermented, it's pater for meiser. If it's the same amount of water, then nothing happened according to Chachamim. So our Mishnah differentiates between hichmetz and loy hichmetz is talking about Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, "V'chein Omar Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina b'shehichmetz machlokes," and only when it became fermented is machlokes. Listen to this chiddush. If you purchase unfermented temet, he did the process. He mixed water with grapes, and he wanted it to become some sort of wine, and you purchase it with ma'aser sheni money. Are you allowed to purchase it with ma'aser sheni money? We said no. It's loy hichmetz. You're not allowed to purchase ma'aser. but then you found out that it did become temed. Kona meiser. So the guy, listen to this. Let's go backwards. Let's say you purchased temed, and you find out that it never became temed. It didn't work. It didn't ferment. It didn't ferment. So what happens to the money? You bought the temed from a guy. He's a seller. What does the seller do with the money? And therefore what? And therefore what? Oh, he bought it with Meiser Sheni money. So now the seller has a problem on his hands. He has Meiser Sheni money in his hands. If it became temed, like Rav Nachman says later on, it became temed. So then the money changes as it becomes temed. Then we know that it was a good purchase, and the money goes out and becomes regular chullin, and the guy can do whatever he wants. He can buy a car with the money. But if it never became temed, then he never had a right to buy it with the Meiser Sheni money. So the Meiser Sheni money has kedusha in it. It has kedusha in it. He has to only use that money in Yerushalayim to buy food. Huh? We're talking about the whole time the temed did not become chametz. Didn't ferment. My taima, but if it fermented, says Rav Nachman, if it did ferment, igloi milsalam afreya de peru, and then we see retroactive that what he purchased here was mamish fruit. There's a person in this room who was the only person that knew the answer to the question I asked about what type of water, what type of food becomes tar in the mikvah. That person, Marshall, if one day he realizes that the church changed his life, then he gloi milsel mafreya that he was always a pri. He was always a changed man. It's not like, oh, it happened in one shot. It's when you chop now. It's gewaldig. No. But it says in the Mishnah, whole nafkamina, they become fermented, not become fermented. Since most of the temed, why would people waste their time with it? Most of the time it becomes temed. So if you have roiv, then it should then just wait it out. In other words, even without waiting out, it's matched from the Mishnah that if it didn't become fermented, right now it's a problem. Why? You have a roiv, most of the time it's machmetz, so it shouldn't be a problem. Why are you telling me puzzle? Omer Rabba, you're right. Kishashir mimenu bekois v'lo yichmetz. We're talking about a situation where he put a sample on the side. In factories, they call it a retention sample, something like that. Like they take a little sample of food and they put it on the side. This is from Tuesday. This is from Wednesday. If there's any issues with it, you put a little sample. And then you go back to that sample. You see, did it become fermented? Did it not become fermented? You'll know. Rav Omar Homani, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. So this is a beautiful shita. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says that it's always dependent on one thing. Could you tell right now, does it walk like a duck? Does it look like a duck? What does it look like? That's all I care about. What does it smell like? Right now, when I mix it, when I buy it, it's not you have the 3 lug that ruin the mikvah, but it's missing a tiny drop. It's not 100% 3 lug. It's minus 1 ounce. And a tiny drop of wine fell into these 3 lug. And what happened? It changed the color of all the water. It looks like wine, so it's not possible. But not only that, and what if a little drop of milk fell into it? And milk looks like water. Now it doesn't look like wine, it looks like water. Why does it not become possible? Because now milk fell into the mikvah. Milk doesn't pass on mikvah. Before wine fell into the mikvah, doesn't pass on. Rabbi Yochanan says no, there's a distinction between milk and wine. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri omer hakoil hoylech achar hamara. Lavo mar Rabbi Yochanan basar chazusa azlinon hachinami basar chazusa Zil basal is chazusa, v'taimo v'chazusa dahai mayaninu. Right now, it looks and it smells like water. So even if you find out later that it became chametz, even if later it became chametz, it became fermented, it doesn't matter, says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. I look at it right now. Right now, it's water, so it's pasul. Another interesting halacha, a few interesting halachas. What if I take the shear of what pasels a mikveh? I take 3 lug of water. If I put it into the mikveh right now, pasul, because I don't have 40 saw yet. And I add a drop of wine to it, and it turns red. And I put it into the mikveh, pasul or kosher, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, that goes by the way it looks. You say kosher, anybody pasul? You put in the whole amount. In Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, no. In Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, that would be kosher. It would be kosher, because it goes by the looks and goes by the looks. What about white wine? So now I see that this tzaddik learned the daf already. Now I chap. So, shkoyach. Very good, very good. Gave it away. He didn't. Okay, he didn't learn the daf. Maybe that's the pshat that the shir doesn't change his life. He learned the daf before. But look, Taisa says over here, the yayin lavon shahoya doime lemayim loy hoya paisels a mikvah. So Taisus adds that even white wine, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, doesn't pass the mikvah. Why? That's why he sticks in the word taima. You also go by the taste, not only by the look. You also go by the taste, and therefore white wine tastes like wine. Memela, it helps to kasher the mikvah. I go with the gears the Taisus brings. Okay. I only know about one. I'm making a machlokes now. Okay. Upliga de Rebbe Lazar. This Reb Nachman. Now what? Reb Nachman says that you go after, if eventually we find out that this is wine, that the time it turned into wine, so we go by. Then retroactively, it was a good sale. It works. In other words, according to Rav Nachman, the machlokes is when after it became fermented. You can't, when it comes to temed, you can't take meiser from another temed. In other words, you and I, we both tried the same day. We took a bunch of grapes, pits, we put into water, we try to make temed. I have to take meiser, you take meiser, but you don't use mine for your meiser, I don't use yours for my meiser. Only if it became fermented. Meaning that hakol moedim, everybody agrees that in order to be mafresh meiser from another place, it has to be fermented. It's mashma. That Rabbi Yehuda would say, he would argue, even in the case of loy hichmetz. Everybody agrees in hichmetz, but in loy hichmetz it's only Rabbi Yehuda. Because savar b'loy hichmetz machlokes. This would be machlokes. V'atkan loy mechayev Rabbi Yehuda elamineu bei. Rabbi Yehuda says when you have to take meiser even loy hichmetz, you only take the meiser from itself. You can't use your friends. And the Gemara explains why can't you take from your friend? The because what if we find out later? We always have to be concerned that it doesn't become wine. And what if I took non-wine? I took regular sink water and I used it for meiser on my stuff? It doesn't work. That would be a big problem of tevel. And what if I took wine, real wine? My friend has real wine. I have fake. I have sink water. I took real wine and I used it as meiser on my water. So I just used real good fruit, the reisa chiyuv fruit, on water. That's a big problem. Tana Rabbanan. All right, new sugya. Hatemed actually hichmitz mishikoi b'mayim. So this is Ismaridik halacha. I have Tomei Temed, right here in this cup. Fill it up to the top, and I kind of kiss the water of the mikvah with it. I go in slowly, let the water of the mikvah touch my temed, and then I take it out. We even have a video of it, if anybody wants to see. Here is the video. Shaka. Oh.
Listen to me carefully. I'm telling you, Trump will sign the agreement with Iran.
Senior intelligence source confirms Trump will sign the Iran deal.
What agreement? The Iranians? Liars, sons of liars. They won't sign.
Senior Houthi official denies and claims the Iranians won't sign the deal.
Tomei Temed, you do a shaka. That's why the mikveh is so gishmak. Yeah. That's the whole idea. That's where you get the flavor. Nobody has why that brand is so gishmak. Oh, I forgot to show this video last night. Okay. Sponsors. Turning of the Daf. Adar Global Specialist in International Financial Services. By Chaim Milrad, Linish Masimim Rosi Fradaletl Bas, Yitzchok Alea Sholem. Mashiga b'mayim. You do ashaka. By the way, we have ashaka in mikvahs today. We have, the main bar that you dunk in, but there's like a little hole on the side, and it goes into a bar zriya, bar ashaka. That's where the make shamim are, and it touches what?
We have it in the sample.
In the sample, correct. You want to get it, please? Shkoyach. Mishich means what? It does. It has a shotgun. It shows that shotgun. I'll show you. I saw it yesterday. Beautiful lined up holes. I don't know how he did it. Some CNC machine. Shkoyach. I don't know if you could see. Could you see right over here? Let me see. You can see the holes. Right here is a hole. And right here is a hole. These are top view of the two. Oh, and it says Bar Shaka Bar Zriya. Right over here. Can't be the same height? It's not the same height. The hole is lower down.
Bar Shaka is lower.
Gary, zoom in.
Are you able to zoom in? Gary, zoom in. Oh. Bar Zriya, Bar Ashaka. Even has steers.
We're the people.
Gary, zoom out.
Gary just stated. He's been here since last night.
Omarov.
He did. He came in last night. Omarov. Dave, איפה אתה היית אתמול? אתמול. אתמול זה yesterday, בעברית. Yeah. Oh, now you mean you should answer now. No. I get it. No. So Rava says an interesting thing, which the Gemara says, I literally don't get it. He makes a distinction between whether the water of the temed was tahar before he started the process of temed, or it became, and then only afterwards it became tameh, or the water was tameh beforehand. He says you cannot make temed that was tameh before you started the whole process of temed. You can't make it tar. Why? A wild svar the Gemara is going to come up with. We don't understand why. If you started, you had a nice cup of tar water, then you added pits to it, and then you tried to make temet, and then it became tameh. Then take it to the mikvah and touch the mikvah. But if the water was tameh, then you added temet to it, it's not going to work. I don't understand why. He said this over to Rav Ashi. Oh, so maybe I could understand. He says like this: because the water of the temet is heavy, they go down. Gravity pulls them down. And all the fruit floats to the top. Because and memela will be a problem to get a good hashaka, because when you try to touch the mikveh water to the temet, it's going to be blocked by all these. The peels and the pits are going to disturb it. That's the only thing I could come up with. So what's the difference when the water became tummy? It's the same ingredients in the water. The water is going to go down to the bottom. The top is going to be a bunch of floaters, and those floaters are going to disturb the whole process. Element balbali. Obviously, there's water, there's floaters, but it's going to get through. The mikveh is going to get through. What is the difference? That's it. All right. I want to play a game here for 200 shekel. Anybody's interested in playing? What are the 5-6 ways that a amma ivriya, if a father sells his daughter as a slave, Torah says he could, how does she go out? Simonim. What else? The other marries her, or the son. So we'll call that one. Age. At what age? 12. Yeah. Simonim is really 12. Yeah. No Shemayin. That's a Evet Knani. Huh? Yoivo. And what's Sheish? Sheish. Very good. Sheish. After 6 years. Yeah, but that you said. Oh no, Mion is in Kedushin. That's something else. That's in what? Misa Sa'adoin. Very good. I think we got them all. Oh no, we got one more. Which one? Giroin Shtashich, I don't know about. But if you could be Paida. You could be Paida. Yeah, that's what he said. All right. So we have Yovel. We have the age of Naira. If the master dies, if the master marries her, if they redeem her, what else? Yovel, I said. Simonim is Naira. Okay. The Torah says that a father could sell his daughter. Now, when we learn the sugi, a lot of people, especially today, 2026, sell a daughter. What in the world? Who sells a slave? Period. Who sells their own daughter? Well, if you go back in history, I'm not trying to be mefarish the Torah, but just to make it a little bit easier to understand, there was such poverty that people were dying. They didn't have what to eat, and the better way to save your family was to let a wealthier family take care of your kid. Otherwise, I mean, there's nothing. You can think about the poverty that we just had 100 years ago, or we live in we're so affluent, and it's. But you have people in this neighborhood that are starving. That they go to bed hungry, they go to school hungry. Kids go to school in this neighborhood. There's such a thing, but then it was a lot worse. You can multiply it by 10, by 100. So there was such a musig of, and we see the same musig that the Torah says, you're not, the only person that can marry off a daughter is a father. Yet Chachamim said no, that even if there's no father, the father died, the brother can marry off, because we're talking about this girl is going to go to waste. She's going to get lost somewhere. Bad things are going to happen to her. So they allowed this to marry her off. But there's something called miyun, that if a brother or a mother marry her off, since it's only the Rabbanan, then all the girl needs to do is say, I don't want to be married to you. That's it. I don't want to be married to you. I want to go home. So she leaves. So says the Mishnah, Kol makom sheyesh mecher ein knas. If she's that old that you could sell her off, in other words, she's a ktana, there's 3 ages. There's ktana, that's 0 to 12. Nara is from 12 to 12 and a half, provided she has simonim, and a begeris from 12 and a half on. If she's so young, she's in the first category of ktana, where you could sell her off, and knas. So if somebody was ma'anet, so mafata her, then they have to pay the father chamishim kesef. But that's only in the middle stage of nara, not by ktana. V'chol makom sheyesh knas ein mecher. At every place that there is a knas, she's old enough, in other words, she's in the age of 12, then he can't sell her off. So if she's a Ktana, she's not a Nair. She's Nair, she's not a Ktana, basically. That's what it says. This goes according to Meir that says that there's no Knas. If somebody was Manas Mafata, a young girl, there's no Knas. That even a Ktana, there's a Knas. So there's a famous Purim Torah on this Gemara right here. I don't know if it was what was his name? There was Eli. Yeah, Rabbi Yonatan. I think it was him, but that he asked the question on Purim. Obviously, it's all Purim. It says, "Why does Esther Malka say Lech Kenoises Kol HaYudim? Give a fine to all the Jews." Well, what did the Jews do? So he says, based on this Gemara, because Achashverosh sold all the Jews to Haman, but there's no selling, there's no mecher if there's a knas. So the whole sale would go out if the knas. But the question is, we don't pass him. That's only according to Rameir. The Gemara says Zudiv Rameir, and according to Chachamim, there is knas b'malkei mecher, and we go like Chacham, not like Rameir. He says, but this whole pshat only goes according to Rameir because in Megillah Daf Yud Ches, it says that Rameir says you could write a Megillah Bal Peh. The famous Gemara, he wrote a Megillah Bal Peh, and Chacham say you can't do that. So it only goes according to Rameir that you're allowed to do a Bal Peh, because if you look in the Megillah, you'll see the Knas is spelled with a Chaf, not with a Kuf. Okay. Says Gemara, this Tanya, Ktano mi bas yoim echad that shetovis shtei sayris yesh lo mecher ve'en lo knas. That's what we're saying now. This is our Shita, Rameir, that until she's a Naira, until she brings Simanim, you could sell her, but there's no Knas. Shetovis shtei sayris ad shetei boger, in the Naira period, the yesh Knas, then that's the only time the Torah says that you have to pay a fine. Ve'en lo mecher, and the father can't sell her. Divrei Rameir. That's our Mishnah. However, Chacham argue, Chacham say that has to do with royal Labia, and any girl from 3 and up is royal Labia. Some Mela, there's a Knas by Yonis and Mafata. So what? So Mela, there is a situation where she's a Ktana. So there is Knas and there is Mecher at the same time. But the Gemara asks, we only spoke about Knas in this line. We didn't say anything about Mecher. Knas in Mecher loy. How come you don't mention that there's also the father can sell her when she's a Ktana? Imav Knas b'mogem Mecher. You're right. It means both. Says the Mishnah, Kol Mokem sheyesh miyun ein chalitza. Miyun is when a brother or a mother marry off the daughter when she's a Ktana. So a very strange thing, she doesn't require a get at all. All she needs to do is say, Lechafatzti, Biyasi, whatever the guy's name is, I don't want to be married to him. Shalom Yisrael. Memela, if she's that young, that she could do miyun, in other words, she's a Ktana, ein chalitza. There's no chalitza. What's chalitza? If you don't know what chalitza is, we have a video. No, we're just going. The Mishnayos are saying it has nothing to do with Chullin. It's just all the Mishnayos have to do with to contrast this and this.
הרי את מקודשת כדת משה וישראל.
It's not you. You have here.
Sorry, I need to go. Bye bye. See you later.
It's when you had a kibbutz rugal still.
We're here today at the Beis Din to bring you the latest on the Chalitza shoe untying ceremony.
We're live now. Can you explain the meaning behind this entrance and what you are carrying?
מעין יבמי להקים לאחיו שם בישראל,
The 5-town woman.
לא אבה יבמי.
לא חפצתי לקחתו.
I asked him to change his voice, so that's why I didn't sync up. Roy Kanir לעיניים.
ככה יעשה לאיש אשר לא יבנה את בית אחיו.
Nutzana. All right. So that's chalitza. What's miyun? For that, we definitely need a video. This is Lachluchis' father.
Get away from me! I don't want you! I don't want you!
If a brother marries her off, then she could say, "Ef shebiyasi bali," and it's all over. Kol magam sheyesh miyun in chalitza, kol magam sheyesh chalitza in miyun. Omer Avid Omer Rav, zu devir Meir. Again, this only goes according to Meir. Avachacham oimrim yesh miyun b'mokem chalitza. You could do miyun even when she's a nara. The sanya. How do we know? There's a very short period of time where she could do miyun even when she's above 12 with siman. The sanya. Until what time? How old is she when she do miyun? Till she has 2 simanim, 2 hairs. Rabbi Yehuda Omer at sheyir b'hashachar alalavan. So Rabbi Yehuda says it's a little bit more than that. It has to be that there's more dark than light, more dark than skin. In other words, it's not stam 2 simanim, but it takes a few weeks later, or whatever it is, a certain period of time, where she's considered a naira. So she could do miyun at that point, but also certainly chalitza. She do chalitza because she's a naira, but even miyun. Says the Mishnah, in the time of the Gemara, they used to blow a shofar before Shabbos, like we do today. There's a signal, there's a siren. Today they play music, they do a whole siren thing. So 2.5 hours before Shkia was the first siren. That would tell people to come out of the fields and come home. Then they would do a trua, that was a tekiah. Then they do a trua that would signal to the store owners to close shop. They did another one, like right before Shkia, that told people that they had to light candles, take the pots off the oven, etc. Today it's a whole big thing. It says it's gula, whoever does the trua, the tekiah gets gula for kids, whatever. We once had a MDY Shabbos here a couple of years ago, and I asked them to change the music to MDY music, and then no, it was a whole. It has to be certain. Yeah, they wouldn't do it. I called upon him, and then the last moment, right before Shkia, the last moment. What is it? The song? Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's usually when you're in the shower. Hey, Shabbat. Yeah. Then I know I have another 20 minutes. Oh. So the last one, when it's like do not do malacha, is tekiah, trua, tekiah. Tekiah is the long one, trua is and tekiah. So says the Gemara, Mishnah. When do we do Havdalah? Motzei Shabbos or Motzei Yontif. But if I'm doing a tekiah, if I'm doing the siren, then ain't Havdalah. In other words, if it's like Erev Shabbos, going into Yontiv is Erev Shabbos, I'm not going to do, we'll see in the Mishnah. In other words, we're talking about a Yontiv and Shabbos together. Either Shabbos is first, Yontiv is second, or Yontiv is first and Shabbos is second. So when I do a tekiah, then I'm not going to do Havdalah. But if I'm going to say Havdalah between Yontiv and Shabbos, then I'm not going to blow the shofar. Yontiv shechal li is b'erev Shabbos. Here, the Mishnah explains. Yontiv shechal li is b'erev Shabbos. if Yontif falls out, mamish like this year on Shavuos. Yontif fell out on a Friday. Yontif Shechali is Erev Shabbos. Toikin, I have to blow the shofar between Shavuos and Shabbos to tell people stop cooking. You're not allowed to cook anymore. It's not. We're going into Shabbos. V'loi mavdilin. What am I going to make Havdalah? Havdalah is from Kodesh to Chol. But over here I'm going from a lesser Kedusha to more of a Kedusha. So there's no point to me of making Havdalah. B'motzei Shabbos mavdilin v'loi toikim. When Motzei Shabbos is Yontif, then I do Havdalah because I'm going from a more Kedusha to less, but there's nothing to blow the shofar for. Keitzem Avdilim, when Yontif is on Motzei Shabbos, what kind of Havdalah do I do? I say, Hamavda ben Kodesh leKodesh. I'm going from a severe Kedusha of Shabbos. Shabbos is always more Kodesh than Yontif to Kal. Heichi Tekeya. How does it look like? Omar Rav Yehuda Tekeya Umeria. When Yontif is on Erev Shabbos, what do? I Tekeya Umeria b'toich Tekeya. I do Tekiya, and it goes straight in to Trua. I don't pause. Tekiya Trua. Rav Asi Omar Tekiya Umeria b'neshima achas. Do I have a shofar here? Oh, this is my nace shofar. In this room, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a nace for me. We had a minyan of 10 people during COVID for Rosh Hashanah, and there was nobody to blow the shofar. But Mokim Shein Ish got up here. Gary could testify. He was one of the 10. They said, nobody will know, but it could be I made mistakes, but nobody took it. I didn't go back even one, no problem. The biggest nace is like when I try to throw that thing, it didn't go, so I try to blow the shofar, I can't blow. I don't know how to blow. But it blew. So you do a tekiya, I'm going to try now. It's going to work now, because it's for the shear. Okay, fine. So anyway, it's in one shot. That was tekiya, and then in one shot. Whereas in a regular Shabbos you do tekiya and then you stop, and then you do a trua, or b'neshima achas in one breath. So he says, asking Rav Asi behutzol in Hutzol in the city, that you should do it in one shot when you have Yontav on Erev Shabbos. But the problem is, it says Yontav Shechali is Erev Shabbos. Our case, that Yontav was Erev Shabbos, like this year, Shavuos, Toikim v'loy Merim. It seems like you don't do a trua at all. It's just one tekiya. My lav, loy Merim cloud. It seems like you don't do a trua. Loy. No, there is a trua just according to each shita. In other words, it's a tekiya with the trua together, so that's why we don't call it a trua. Or it's a tekiya and you don't take a breath and then you do a trua, so we don't call it a trua. Rav Yehuda Matar Zatamei, Rav Asi Matar Zatamei, Rav Yehuda Matar Zatamei, Lo Merim V'nei Atzim V'nei Tekiya. It's not an individual trua; it goes together with the tekiya, so we don't call it a trua. Rav Asi Matar Zatamei, Lo Merim Shtei Neshima, Lo Neshima Achas. Since it's one breath, so we don't consider it a trua. Or Mitzvah Shabbos, when Yontav falls out on Motzei Shabbos, Heicha Amar Lo. In the regular Havdalah, we say Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Chol ben Or L'Choshech. So we say Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Chol, and then we say what? Baruch Atah Hashem Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Chol. So we say the same thing twice. What about when Yontav falls out on Motzei Shabbos? When do you say a Kodesh L'Kodesh? Do we say Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Kodesh or ben Or L'Choshech Yisrael L'Amim? That doesn't sound right. We never say that. We say Baruch Atah Hashem Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Kodesh. That we do say at the end. Omer Rav Yehuda b'chasimasa, only at the end. V'chein Omer Rav Nachman b'chasimasa. Rav Sheshes b'reder Rav Yehuda Omer Afi b'dich chasa. You would say Baruch Atah Hinei Kodesh Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'Kodesh ben Or L'Choshech Yisrael L'Amim. V'leisach is going to say we don't pass him like him. Rav Doi Soim ben Kodesh Chomer L'Kodesh Hakal. You don't say on Motzei Yontif, oh, we're going in from a lighter Kedusha to a more of a Kedusha. That's a bizayon to the Yontif. I also felt, I'll tell you, what afuch? No, from a Chomer to a Kal. Yeah. This year, it was just a Hargosh. I'm not saying this is the halacha. I know that la halacha it's okay. It just didn't sit well with me. There was a minyan in our shul on Shavuos going into Shabbos. So in other words, they were Kabul Shabbos early, and in a way they were saying goodbye to Shavuos early, because once you daven Ma'ariv, even before Shkia, So in benching, they ate, let's say, before Shkia. You don't say Yalav Yave anymore. You say just Ritzei. So to me, it felt like, oh, you're right. Shabbos is more chomer, but it's like, oh, I had enough of you, Shavuos. I was up the whole night with you. No, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Patrani. I don't know. It just didn't feel, huh? Okay, I'm not saying it's halachically it's fine. It's just for me. It's maybe it's a false hargasha. It's just I'm just sharing my hargasha. What? He says you're not supposed to. I'm saying obviously la halacha you're allowed to. You're allowed to. Is it lechatchila? I don't know. If you're very tired, you have young kids. Listen, what? The Magen Avraham says it's better. You see, my hargasha just fly out the window. Especially if you have little children, Omar Zero. Yonder Shechali is Ben Shabbos. I'm just going to chazer that in Chicago. Oh, let me just show you this before I forget. I'll just say my little Chicago thing. In Chicago, I asked in shul a number of times, people the next morning, did you remember to say Kriya Shema? No. 90% of the people don't say Kriya Shema again. Well, Halavai, they just say that.
Shufak for you to blow, announcing the beginning of Shabbos.
Shams.
Don't worry, Yushi. I'm big enough now. I'll blow the shofar. Don't forget, teruah in the same breath. Great job, Mendy. One more tekiah.
One day we'll have the AI figured out.
I have the perfect idea.
Omer Zera, Yonder Shechali is Ben Shabbos. Rabbi say, I don't know. No, I did a survey in Shul. So some people put the button, some people put their tie on backwards. They forget Sphira, they forget this. It's a big problem, the early Shabbos for me. Rabbi say, Yontav Shechali is Ben Shabbos. If Yontav falls, how? Rabbi say, how does Yontav fall out in the middle of a Shabbos? How? Huh? Pesach, in the middle of Shabbos. Means the middle of the week. Yontav Shechali is Ben Shabbos. If Yontav falls out in the middle of the week, Oimer Hamavda ben Kodesh l'chol. But Hamavda ben Kodesh l'chol, that's good. Beino l'choshech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu divides between Kodesh and mundane, between Or l'choshech, light and dark. Ubein Yisrael Amim. But what does this mean? Ubein Yoyim Hashvi l'sheish yimei hamatzah. You're on a Tuesday. Why are you saying between the 7th day, the Shabbos, and the rest of the week? Says Gemara, my time I'll say the Havdalah Sumoinu. You're saying it like it says in the Torah. The Torah makes that Havdalah, and you're just finishing off like you need Hadran Aloch Hakol Shoichtin, Hadran Aloch Hakol Shoichtin, Hadran Aloch Hakol Shoichtin, and now you could say, Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.